Everything is telling you to go off. You're mad, you're frustrated. How could someone treat you that way? How could they disrespect you that way? That got you messed up. I know. And everything is telling you to go off. If you clicked on this video, you are wanting to know, how can you control your emotions? I don't know if you're currently experiencing a situation where you have to practice controlling your emotions, or if you recently experienced a situation where you are having to practice controlling your emotions. But I've been there. All of us have been there. All of us have experienced situations where our emotions get the best of us and feeling like we have absolutely no control over what happens, what we do, what comes out of our mouth. In this video, I'm going to share with you specifically some tips that I actually recently learned while reading the Mastery of Self book. And it really opened my eyes, and I believe that it will help you as well. In this video, we're going to talk through specific ways that will cause you to not flip out. It's easy to flip out. If you're anything like me, I made a recent video here on my channel where I was one of those ones, right? I've always considered myself a nice person, but when it came to people coming and bothering and interrupting my peace, my space, or if someone I love came to me telling me they were in a situation where someone was bothering them, best believe I was going 0 to 100 real quick without any consideration. Like when I tell you, words coming out, cutting like swords, like making you realize that you really got me messed up, and for you to think twice about messing with me or whoever I loved in that manner again. But after I would do this, I would feel horrible. The reason why I would feel bad about doing it is because in those instances where I'm emotionally charged and I'm just immediately reacting based off of what I was feeling at that present moment, more often than not, I'm saying a lot of things out of just anger, pure frustration, rage, right? And some of those things that I would say, I would not mean. It wasn't me. And what does that cause you to do? That causes you have to go back and to apologize, and then you're regretting saying some things that you really did not mean to say. And with you already saying it, the only thing you are left to do right then and there is to own exactly what you said. So let's get into how we can prevent ourselves from flying off the handle, how we can prevent ourselves from saying things we really do not mean, how we can prevent ourselves from acting in a way that we really regret doing so, and really take control of our emotions. All right, y'all, so let's get into it. One of the main points discussed in the book is you absolutely have to recognize and know your triggers. The importance of recognizing and knowing your triggers is because knowing your triggers allows you to take back control. And I'll read here a bit from the book. So it says, anytime you feel a burst of anger, frustration, guilt, shame, or any number of negative emotions, that's your cue to look within and see what is happening. Ask yourself questions like, where is this feeling coming from? When have I experienced this before? What is the source of this feeling? Once you're aware of what's happening inside of you, you are then able to calm yourself and stop the downward spiral before you lose control. Everyone on this earth has emotions. Everyone is going to experience emotions, but it's when you do experience those emotions, how are you going to handle it? So even looking back on my own personal experiences, right? How I used to just fly off the handle, say anything like, you hurt me, I'm hurting you. I'm happy and I'm proud to say, like, I'm not that person anymore. It took a lot of work to become the person that I am right now, and being more aware and being more control over how I act and what I say. So I'm proud of the progress that I personally made in my life. And that is really what led me to make this video. Absolutely, with reading the Mastery of Self book and knowing my personal experiences with trying to gather myself and being in control of my emotions. I know that I'm not the only one. If it helped me, then I want to share with my tribe, with the people on my channel that can help you as well. Another point discussed in the book was at the very point where you become angry, right? So we all know what that feeling feels like. Your temperature starts to rise, your heart may begin to race, maybe start shaking your leg. all these thoughts and what you're about to do and what you're about to say to this person just start probably running 100 miles in your head, and you are just ready to give it to them. At that moment when you feel like anger in itself is beginning to rise within you, it is at this moment where you want to walk away. The reason why you want to take a pause and walk away, because at the onset of anger, right? At the onset of anger, all these thoughts and feelings are rushing you all at once, right? All of these feelings are just overflowing you. If you at that moment, if you are going to react out of 100% of your own self-interest, your own personal beliefs and what you feel is right, and from a state of your ego and wanting to prove a point, this means you are not ready to handle the situation. At that point, you are reacting. At that point, you have no regard for the other person's feelings. You have no regard for the other person's thoughts, beliefs, or anything else. And that only will then escalate the situation, because you are then communicating from just your own point of view, right? And we know what that looks like. Communicating solely from your own point of view, your perspective, really not seeing the other person's point of view and hearing them out. It literally leads into going back and forth. I know me personally, and in my arguments, my disagreements, when I would immediately react, I'm putting the words together like the way I think it's best, right? Not really focusing on how to come to common ground and how to resolve whatever issue is at hand, but I want to one up you, right? I want my argument to sound better than yours. I want it to be better than yours, right? And then that's what it just goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. If you feel me, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up if I'm right. If you know that the arguments that you have, you're not really focused on what the issue is at hand. It's literally trying to prove that you are right. You may be wondering, so you are really telling me that in the midst of me feeling angry, I just need to walk away? That's what I'm telling you. And that is exactly what the Mastery of Self book tells you as well. I know you may be thinking, Terry, is always this one person. It's this one person that really, or people that really get under my skin. They know how to push my buttons and they just know how to take me there. And you know what? There are certain people that can push our buttons. But in the book specifically, it talks about why, right? Recognizing the reason why and how you allow this person or people to take you there and push your buttons. So think about it as, if you allow that person to make you react in a certain way, at that point, who has the power? That's just something to think about. Who has the power if someone else other than yourself allows you to act a certain way? Who has the power over you? When I looked at it like that, I was like, wow, like, you're right. At that point, I'm thinking, me reacting and I'm telling this person off that I'm doing what needs to be done, right? But really, you don't know what the other person's intentions are. Are they intentionally pushing your buttons for you to act out? Are they intentionally wanting you to display yourself as you normally would not? So you have to think beyond. And by no means is this video telling you to not react or not stick up for yourself. Absolutely not. In the event that you, yourself, or your family members or whoever are in immediate physical danger and it has to resort to you sticking up for yourself, absolutely stick up for yourself. That goes without question, right? If anybody is putting you in immediate physical danger, harm, whatever, trying to cause harm to you, absolutely, you have every right to stick up for yourself. This video is particularly in relations to just emotions, conversations getting out of control, causing you to react, arguments, disagreements, just different belief points, different truths, right? Having the ability to have a conversation with someone who believes differently than you, thinks differently, right? Just being able to respect that person at the core as being a human being. So that takes growth. That takes growth to take your feelings out of it, take their feelings out of it, and say, you know what? I don't agree with you. I don't agree with what you're saying, but I respect your viewpoint. right? You see how that gives power back to yourself instead of you wasting your valuable time and energy trying to convince someone how you believe, telling them what they should be doing. Because at the end of the day, people are going to do whatever they want to do anyway. So why can't I can freely share my viewpoint to you, you freely share your viewpoint to me, and that be what it is. I'm not trying to convince you. You're not trying to convince me. I just respect you at the core as being a human being to have the right to have a difference of opinion. So now what happens? What happens if the reverse happens? You are in a situation where you cannot control your emotions and you decide just to react, right? You decide to react. In those instances where you decide to react, you lose control. You absolutely have to 100% accept the fact that you are responsible for how you react. No one else. You cannot put the blame on anyone else. And this was a hard pill for me to swallow and to accept personally, because I always felt like I didn't start it, but I finished it, right? And the way I finished it, was I proud of it? Absolutely not. But I had to take 100% responsibility. You would have to take 100% responsibility of your actions, of your words, and how you let your emotions control you. So you can't say, well, I did this or I said this because such and such did this to me. Absolutely not. The power lies in you 100% being responsible for how you personally react. And think about this. Have you ever been out somewhere and you may have seen like two people just arguing, right? And you see one is very like loud and boisterous and like going in, like just yelling and angry, upset and mad. And then the other person within the argument is kind of, reserved to themselves, not really saying anything. And what happens, right? You immediately think, or you immediately have sympathy and you have concern for the person that is not really saying or doing too much, right? Why is that? I always wonder, like, why is that? One, we don't know how the argument started. Two, we don't know what the other person that now we see are being quiet. We don't know what they said. Like, we don't know what their tone has been. But naturally, you are more empathetic for the person that is not displaying anger. They're not displaying their emotions. And is this fair? I don't think that this is fair, but this is just how it is. And the sooner we adopt the fact that the person that in an argument, right, the person that you see not really reacting, controlling themselves, having composure, this is the person that is viewed as the person that's right. Is it right? No, it's not right. But the sooner you adopt the fact of outside looking in and how you may be viewed as a person just based on your overall reactions to anger, the emotion anger specifically, then you are able to make more conscious decisions, right? Then you know that, okay, I'm not going to let this person take me there, right? Because this is not the person that I am as I'm displaying bursts of anger, bursts of rage, and just saying any and everything. At the core, that's not who you are. But for someone that hasn't met you, for someone that hasn't had a personal interaction with you, if that's the person that they have been presented to, right? If that's all they know, that is who they are going to perceive you as. So if you are conscious about how you want to show up in the world, how you want to present yourself, and making it to be as true and as aligned with the person you are, then absolutely you have to be able to control your emotions. So next time you are in an emotional heightened state, it's going to happen. It's going to happen for sure. It's not just because you adopt principles and you are learning how to control your emotions, that is not going to make you exempt from being tested and having to go through and navigate through emotional situations. Absolutely not. So the next time you're met with an emotional situation, or you might be going through it right now, I want you to remember this. Know your triggers. Knowing your triggers specifically puts you back in a position of power because you are able to identify certain people, certain places, certain things that causes you to get in an emotional state and want to react. So knowing your triggers, you can avoid all that altogether, right? You can say, no, I'm not going here. I'm not doing this at all costs. Like, I'm not even going to set myself up, right, for that particular situation. Now, there are instances where it's completely unavoidable, right? It's completely unavoidable. You know your triggers, but you are then put in the face of an emotional situation, right? You are put in the face of someone you don't like. They're having a conversation with you, right? And if then you know you're not in a space to communicate with them from a place of responding to them, and you immediately want to react to them, then you know you have to step away. So you want to step away. You want to identify and honor your true feelings, right? If you know you're not in a space to respond respectfully, just step away. If it's like, oh my goodness, this person isn't letting it go, and you're feeling cornered, they're coming at you, and you are then in a space where you're forced to do something. So if you're forced to do something, before you actually act, you can pause, take a second pause, and know that however you choose to react, you are 100% in control of that. So instead of thinking about how you're going to react, something that was a game changer for me and how it was explained in the book, although it's simple, it was so important. Like my eyes was like, I had like an aha moment, like that makes absolute sense. It completely changed the way I handle situations. In the book, The Mastery of Self, and it suggests, instead of reacting, you should respond. What's the difference? Reacting is when you're unaware, you're impulsive, you're uncertain about whatever it is you're going to do, whatever it is you're going to say, compared to responding. Responding is certain. Responding is reassuring. Responding is a message or action that you can 100% back up and stand for what you said, stand for what you did, because it came from a place of consciousness. I hope you're getting that, right? I hope you're getting that. When I read that, and I was like, wow, like that is so true. Responding allows you to own exactly what you say. Responding allows you to own exactly what you do. Reacting to something, reacting to an emotion off of impulse, off of uncertainty, off of anger, off of rage, off of frustration, without thinking about it, puts you in a position of saying, oh my gosh, I didn't mean to do that. A position of saying, oh my gosh, I didn't mean to say that. So living in a world with different people, different personalities, different beliefs, different truths, different opinions can be challenging. I'm still learning personally myself how to navigate emotions. The very thought of emotions is very vast. There's so many different emotions, and I'm still learning myself. But I strongly believe if we use the tips that we're discussing in this video, you and I have enough power to take our power back and regain control over our emotions. If you enjoyed this video, I appreciate you for sticking around. If you found it helpful, go ahead, give this video a thumbs up. Also consider dropping me a comment below. Also, I highly appreciate if you consider subscribing to the channel. Subscribe to the channel so you can join the Terry Sharver Catching a Major Vibe, y'all, because we'll be coming back with another video. Let's go.